Good day, everybody. My name is Nell Miley, and I am joined today by the public speaker and author of the book that we're going to be discussing today. With me, I have Mr. Jordan Seke. Mr. Jordan, please introduce yourself and just tell us more about the book.
Thank you, Nell. My name is Jordan Seke. I'm a engineer ecologist. I'm an author. I'm a devotee of innovation, economic growth, and quality education. I'm likewise also a fan of entrepreneurship and technology as well. My book is titled The Impact of Innovation on Economic Growth in Africa. And I'm looking specifically in the case of Ethiopia and Rwanda.
Interesting. So please tell us why Ethiopia and Rwanda?
You know, the disparity of on their economic growth lately has been so amazing. Those two countries are coming from the guerrillas, and in the 19, they were known for no state. Basically, there were no control of anyone about what were happening there. People were killed, children, men, and even babies were killed in the genocide in Rwanda. The same things was also happening in Ethiopia, but on a different ground, with the guerrilla between a lot of, what do you call it, ethnic and all those group, they were fighting on the ground there.
Sure.
So that is why when you look at them today, 2 decades down the line, they've made a lot of progress. Ethiopia is known now like the China of Africa, and Rwanda is qualified as a Singapore of Africa. So those are amazing stuff that I wanted to look in and investigate for me to understand why media are saying these things.
Interesting. So, looking into this book, sir, what can you tell the viewers, like people that have never read this book? Just give us a sneak peek of what is in the book.
Yeah, the book highlights great stuff. But as I constantly say to people, this is just a first step to our storytelling, the storytelling of our time. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, the future belongs to people who believe in the beauty of their dreams.
Wow.
I think the future of Africa is bright and beautiful. So that is a personal dream that I have for Africa. But we cannot just go wishy-washy. We must have some term of reference. That's why I took Ethiopia and Rwanda from where things were not going well to now that they are among the leading growing economic in Africa. So that is basically what the book is all about. And it's just what is also want to play the role of being the bridge of conversation between the young people and the emerging market of Africa. What solution they can look into, provide into the Africa in order for us to grow economically.
Interesting. So you mentioned young people with regards to the book, and how do you suppose that this will be inclusive to the young people? Just thinking about trying to make something out of themselves, like being entrepreneurs and agricultural stuff. How do you think your book is gonna influence that?
Yeah, definitely, because when you look at the definition of innovation, it's quite a broad concept, innovation by itself. But innovation can also be defined as the improvement of efficiency of something that we normally do. So looking into the agriculture, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because those two countries are shining through agriculture. Rwanda and Ethiopia, the same. Although there is some other example that I'm going to be elaborating as we fall through your question. But young people today are without reference. Some of them are lost.
Sure.
This book basically is just telling them that if you look back into the history of these two countries, there were no hope there. There were nothing that could have come out in this particular time and age. But today, just through innovative way of governing, through innovative way of delivering services, the country now make the pride of Africa.
Sure. Interesting, very interesting, sir. So, with innovation, how do you suppose that you can bring your research on board in South Africa and many other countries in Africa?
Yeah, you know, The problem with research is the research method, the research technique.
Mm-hmm.
People may not agree basically with my outcome. As I said, these two countries are not the good example. They are not the perfect example, but they are the good one. Maybe more observation is required for us to get into the crack of everything, how it started, for it to become the way that is now today. And if we come back to South Africa, in the case of South Africa, speaking about South Africa, South Africa is quite a very good emerging market. But South Africa has lost its position as a number one economic powerhouse of the continent. They've been kicked out by Nigeria. Why? Because there is corruption. We're suffering for the root of corruption. Corruption is everywhere in South Africa today. And young people who goes out there, they cannot find job. The market is now tight with the COVID-19 and all this stuff. The good things that people have to look at now is to be more creative. How? In the agriculture is quite a long process. From farming, harvesting, and transforming those products to become a product that can be consumed by a lot of people. Those are job creation chain.
Sure.
So people have to look at themselves. What are they capable of bringing in the conversation? If you are from Limpopo, I've been in Limpopo,
Yes.
They have a lot of stuff there in agriculture. They have avocado and everything. What is forbidding the young people to take those avocado and bring them in Johannesburg and start selling? Because even myself, I would come and buy. You don't have to be in the office in order for you to say that you are contributing to the economy. That is nonsense. You have to do something, even smaller, but a new way of doing things. I will take you an example of a young guy coming from varsity in Rwanda. He built an app and selling farming product or agricultural product.
Wow.
He created a warehouse where he goes and buy fresh food or what do you call it here, veggies and everything, and put them in his warehouse and take photos of those things and upload them into the app. So people request product to the app. They make payment also to that app.
Wow.
And he has some motor people who will go and deliver to the address that requested the product. Is this not innovation? South Africa can copy the same. Because today we're using Uber. Uber is not a South African company.
Yeah.
Why we cannot emulate the very same idea, but bring it into the context of our own realities? In Rwanda, they have Safe Moto, which is a version of Uber. But it's for Rwanda, not for America or something, and some other people. I'm not saying that it must not be a foreign innovation, because we've been consuming a foreign innovation for all these years. But I'm just saying that you can copy something good and bring it into your community and make use of it to contribute to the economic growth of the country.
Sure. No, I can agree with you when you say that a student coming from Rwanda, just started an app. With us I think with South Africans, we can all agree that people are very lazy to just get up and just start something, become entrepreneurs. They're always expecting handouts and all that stuff. So I could agree with you on that one, sir. Also, I just want to ask, what motivated you to turn this research into a book?
I think my motivation came in the fact that most of the history book that I've been reading since I was young, coming from Congo, it's been written by some other people. I don't want to use the word of foreign here in this conversation, but it was not written by African. Let me put it in that perspective. It was not written by African. It was written by people coming from Western Europe or European and American. And I doubt that they've been giving us a very true side of history. So that has been always something that crossed my mind and kind of like putting me into a corner to realize that we have a lot of potential as Africans. But we maybe, as you said, we've not been given those ends for us to shine them. I had to start from my own perspective, saying that no, let me bring something into the corner, into the game here,
Mm.
to help my fellow African. Whatever they find themselves, they can emulate from my book to also write their own story. Because we can be like today, we are talking with you. The perspective of on COVID-19 is seen on different angles. You have your views, and I do have mine. But if we decide today to bring those views onto the table, publish them, it's going to help people. Even down the years, 20 years, 30 years, if we are not even around, people can still use those things as a term of reference for them to move forward with managing other crises that may arise in the nearest future. So that is my motivation come in the fact that let me write this history about Africa, African economies that are booming, written by an African, who is not basically a Ethiopian or a Rwandan. I'm a Congolese. But I don't box myself into my specific country. I'm an African, I'm a Pan-Africanist, so I understand that there is a lot of work that need to be done in the continent. But you have to start somewhere. You cannot go to the 20th floor without starting from the ground floor.
True.
Although you press the button, it will show you that all those number 1, 2, because the lift itself cannot just go and jump straight to the 20th floor. It will go following the process until it reaches the 20th floor. That is also why this book was meant to be.
Wow. That is very inspiring. So I just really hope you guys are inspired as I am. We are speaking innovation and changing lives of young people and trying to better our lives on an everyday basis. So we're looking at areas, the rural areas. People are still suffering with electricity, internet access. What do you think your book and you as an African can just change the situation that's happening in the rural areas?
I have a very sad history about a young lady, very brilliant, who applied for medicine at Z. And I think history may inspire people, but some people may feel sad if I have to give the detail about the history. We cannot build a strong economy without infrastructure. If you look at what the apartheid regime left in South Africa to where we are today, people may claim that we've made progress. We've made social progress. But economical progress, I doubt that. And that those questions are debatable. Why am I saying that? If you look in the map of Africa, Ethiopia is a close country. But Ethiopia came with a project called Ethiopia, Renaissance Ethiopia. Those was a project to underline all basic requirement infrastructure that was needed for them to move with the economy. They were able to build railroad to connect the Addis Ababa and the rest of the country to the rail and to the sea, through Djibouti. You go to Rwanda, the same kind of infrastructure building layers were being like at the heart of every transformation. You come to South Africa, today, they're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. Guys, that is a buzzword. I even have a paper on that. For me, it's just a buzzword. When you're walking through the M1 or you're driving through the M1, you realize that on your left side, going to Pretoria, I mean like driving to the on the M1, going to Pretoria. On your left, you have Santa. On your right, you have Alexander. It's like a day and night. But when you drive past that road, you don't question your own sense, then we have a serious problem as Africans to transform our life. We will be always those people who blame the government of not doing anything.
True.
Who's the government? Who's the state? The state is you and I. The state is also the people that are serving in the public office. We all constitute the state. However, each and everyone has priorities. What I like about South Africa is the people going back to their communities to go and empower their people.
Yeah.
But we must not stop there because I've done math at school and I have to go back and start teaching people for math. They're all about other skills. We have to build skill development program to empower our young people, those who are in the rural area and everything.
Yeah.
But going back to your question specifically, I think a lot can be done because South Africa has roads. They have those minimum or basic infrastructure. I can drive from here to Kuma with using my GPS. I will reach destination without any problem because they are road. But what are we using those roads for?
Sure.
What can we do? We can create like food warehouse or banks. When I know that in Kuman I can get, let's say, tea, and I can start my manufacturing company of tea here in Johannesburg. I go and source my tea from Kuman. It's just an example, just for people to bring people into context. I bought my tea there from those people, rural people, the farmer there. Instead of them forcing them to come into Johannesburg, sometimes they will not know where to find me. They can do the same, like I'll go and buy that from them there and bring it to Johannesburg, transform them, and send it to the people, the middle class that exist. Hear me out, middle class. I'm even putting them into bracket because there is no such thing of black middle class. It's just a lot of graduates hurrying around Johannesburg and Cape Town and wherever with a lot of debt. Some of them don't have even money to start paying their debt that they took, the loan that they took from the bank for them to study.
Sure.
So it's just about the mindset. Innovation is also that. Transforming is also part of innovation. Innovation is not only about bringing or inventing something that doesn't exist. It's just about improving efficiency, improving delivery of services. And there is a lot of example that I will be able maybe to share with you through the book, why I took those two countries. Ethiopia in 2017 was not a good democracy. People were arrested. Journalists like yourself and others were not able to speak their mind. If you refuse to write what the government is telling you to write, you'll be put in prison or you'll be forced to go into exile. And some websites have been closed completely. But when these new guys come, a new leader, a new breed of leader, I think that is what Africa is lacking. A new breed of leaders. And some people who are seeing that things are not going well in our continent. I have to stand up and do something. I'm not have to stand up and make people to go and march, violently break and destroy stuff that we already, some infrastructure that we already have. But we have to break the ice to our mind, the mindset. What are you thinking when you're sitting there doing nothing? What lockdown has taught you? If you're coming back from the lockdown, the same person, it means that we still have a very long way to go as Africans.
Sure.
And we will not see the light of the impact of those innovations on our economic growth. We will just be like the hen who always want to be given something in order for us to prosper.
Sure. You guys, Mr. Jordan is truly amazing, saying inspiring words. Indeed, innovation is just a mindset, everyone. It's about transformation, changing your life as well as the lives of many other people around us. So, in terms of innovation, can we just go back to the two countries that you mentioned, Ethiopia and Rwanda? Can you just give specific examples of what you mean by innovation?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier on, innovation must not only be about bringing new stuff or inventing something that has never been existing before into the market. Innovation can also be the improvement of the quality of services. As I said to you that that new Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, coming into power, decided to set free every person who has been incarcerated into prison for one reason or another, and asking people who have been in a forced to exile to come back into the country for them to build the new country. And in 2015, Ethiopia was the first country to implement or to start with a train,
Wow.
a urban train, like electrical one, the modernized one, not the one that we have here in Cape Town, not really that one, but like how train. So they had it before. Although our train came in 2010, but those in terms of infrastructure, into the contributing into the economic growth of the economy, that is what Ethiopia has done. And Ethiopia now has developed a lot of economical path, if I have to put it that way, where if I'm an investor today, I go there, they will give me space already made for me to start doing my business. And you have your guests, H&M, building now, manufacturing their product there in Ethiopia. Because the labor is cheaper and it makes life more easier for them. That's why they're calling Ethiopia like the new China, the China of Africa. And you can even go down into their plane. They want to become by 2025 among the country with a minimum salaries. That is what Ethiopia is doing. And they're building infrastructure. They've now put internet. They've now built incubators to help a young entrepreneur to start with their stuff. And they want by 2025 to become the African first producer of sugar.
Wow.
And they already produce coffee and tea. The same also apply for Rwanda and Rwanda as well. But let me put you into perspective of innovative way that they're doing. Ethiopian Airline is a first African company. It can compete with other people. The service with Ethiopian is amazing. Ethiopian Airline is run like a private business, although it's a state-owned company. Ethiopian Line have a board of directors, not a government dictating how the company must be run. A board of directors who are not accountable to any other entity. They are accountable to the success of the company. And as a CEO, you have to make sure that everything is run according to the mandate that has been given to you. They want progress and growth. And the Ethiopian Airline has been doing great in that particular stuff. But when you go down to Rwanda, Rwanda is also not in the center, like Congo, like DRC, like Angola, and other countries. What Rwanda has done, they make things so easy for doing business, easy of business, and political stability, and geographic location. So today, a lot of countries like Dubai or Qatar, if we know them, it's because of the service that they render through their airline companies. People now discover the country through the airline. And Rwanda, the national carrier of the Rwandan of Rwanda, is also doing the same. Now, it's a young company compared to South African Airways and Kenya, those things. They have 26 destinations. Sure. That is the exposure that they're bringing into their countries. In order for you to go to even to Congo from Johannesburg, you will see that we live here and then we have to be in Kigali. The internet connection at the airport is so amazing. You don't have to look for it like at OR Tambo or other airport. I'm taking those examples because I've been to Njili in the DRC. I've been to Maya in Congo Brazzaville. Internet there is still a luxury. So those basic stuff already being available in the African country, it make a lot of impression and a lot of change. So then when we go to Rwanda specifically, I spoke about AA, the guy who developed the app selling agricultural product. Yeah. AA also created a kind of like an incubator, an accelerator, where it trains young people with skill for them to be a web designer, what do you call it, a software engineer and all those things.
Mm.
And those people now are able to create companies to assist companies to go to build their footprint into the country. And beyond those kind of things, in Rwanda, if you want to start a business, let's take an example. You land there at 6 a.m. in the morning. 7:30, the office start opening. You walk to one single office. You will get everything. Let me bring it into context for South Africans for them to understand what I mean by that.
Mm.
In South Africa, you have to register at SIPO. You must go to another different office for you to get a BE certificate. You have to go to the bank of your choice to do, what do you call it, to get your bank account open. And the other applying certificate, your VAT certificate and all those things.
Yeah.
There are different offices. Or in Rwanda, you do it at one office.
Sure.
And everything, like if you go there at 7:30, by 8 o'clock max, you'll get your service done and all the paperwork. So if you decide, you can even open your office at 9:30 with everything in order. Nobody will come and ask you a question. So my mandate in writing this book and taking this example was like, if Ethiopia and Rwanda can do that, what about us?
Wow.
What about, why are we still keeping on voting or electing corrupt leaders? I'm not saying that Paul Kagame or Abe are saint or they are holy. No. They are very authoritarian, especially Paul Kagame. But he was able to drive change into Rwanda. Rwanda was the first country that implemented video call. Just to avoid people in the rural area, to go back to your question about the rural area. Those are very important people.
Yeah.
We seem to neglect them. Those are very important people in our economy. They're the one who feed us. They're the one who provide those veggies.
Right.
But if we cannot assist them to create a chain of job, then we are not making any progress as an economy. Remember, informal economy is very powerful. People that we find in the corner of our street selling grape, apple, orange, and all those things. Those people are very powerful. They are the one who make the economy to run. Rwanda was the first country before the WhatsApp and all these new apps that help us to make video call. You were making a voice video call. So a person in a rural area was able to make a phone call. He said that, oh, no, by the way, you wanted tomato. I have tomatoes here. You will ask him, where are the tomatoes? He was just take his phone and show you the tomatoes. You are able to make a decision and you pay the money to the way that they have there. And then your goods will arrive in Kigali or wherever you find yourself on time, as on agreed and term and condition. But now they've moved up from that stage to the new stage, where in Rwanda, public transport, you don't use cash. They've been able to drive the informal economy into a formal economy.
Wow.
People, instead of having a lot of cash on them, you cannot travel on public transportation in Rwanda, Kigali, with cash.
Wow.
You have to pay them with the card. That driver his mandate is to take you from A to B or to C according to the route that you have to take. And Rwanda has done a lot. I'm talking about Rwanda because Rwanda is the story of Rwanda is quite amazing because Rwanda has been colonized. Ethiopia were not colonized. So people have to also understand those contexts. A colonized economy who is doing well versus also the non-colonized economy. But both are doing wonderful. And Ethiopia is the fastest growing economy in the world.
Sure.
Not in Africa only. So if you're sleeping there in South Africa, wherever you find yourself, you're sleeping and thinking that government will come and give you job. You are dreaming. And we always said, if your dream it doesn't scare you, that means it's not a dream. It's just something that you were just looking to a particular crystal. So people must not take innovation, the definition of innovation like But these things already exist. What am I bringing here as innovative? No. It can be innovation in the rural area because people were not exposed to those facilities.
Right.
In the rural area, it becomes innovative. And it also improves the process and the quality of service that we have to deliver. You can see the development of M-Pesa, money, mobile money, those kind of things. And those are development done in African continent. But what are we doing with that?
Those are very powerful words. So, with what I'm getting from this is that encouraging African development, developing also the economy of Africans as Africans is a very important aspect of our lives. And also, if you are looking for world class, Emirates class airlines, you know that Ethiopia will be the place to be. And of course, their coffee is known as amazing. So I just want to add to this. We know that your book has been translated into 5 languages. That is amazing. How do you feel about that?
It's quite a privilege. But I don't want to stand here in the position of arrogance to say that, guys, I've done it. I'm not yet there. Believe me, I'm not yet there. And I strongly believe that there is more to be done. More to be done in a lot of ways. Not only about innovation and economic growth, but in the economic growth. Remember, economic growth is not only the result or the outcome of researchers' job and engineers. Economic growth is a combination of a lot of stuff. Changings of law, allowing things to roll and to run as easily as possible.
Sure.
To give people that peace of mind. Yes, my book today is translated into Italian, French, Dutch, German, and Spanish.
Wow.
Because the original version is in English.
It's English, yes.
Yes, because I think the publisher has realized that the content of the book is important. But if we can only serve the French-speaking or the English-speaking people, it will not reach out to more people, even on the African continent, because we have 54 countries in total. Not all of them speak English.
Right.
Some speak Portuguese, and unfortunately, I could not get a Portuguese version. But I think the demand went to Italian, German, Dutch, Spanish, and French. And few people have already got their copies. But I have to also be cautious about this, telling people that in your version, the choice of word may be different from the spirit of word that were used in the English version.
Right.
So they have to be mindful with the publisher because it was just to help them. The translation was not done like with me, what you mean specifically by using this word. They're just trying to put the message out there for people to embrace and make sure that we can copy good people. It's not a sin.
Sure. So with regard to our conversation today, what would be your message to our viewers?
My message contains 3 H. Avoid hypocrisy. Is with a H. Be hopeful. H.
Yeah.
Be honest. H. Why am I putting this H into perspective? We must not lie to ourselves. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. And you must not be afraid or ashamed about that. Because not everyone has been exposed to the experience that I have. Not everyone has been exposed to the way that you has been exposed into your life and growing up and to school and everything.
Right.
But even when I was writing this book, it was for me a way for me to say, to give back. And also to share my little experience with the rest of the world. Why? Because I've been exposed to several countries. I've been to Brazil. In Brazil, when I went to buy apple at the corner of the street, I was amazed. I didn't have enough cash to get whatever I wanted to buy, the fruit and all those things. And the guy said to me, "Oh, you don't have to go to the bank," because I was looking where it was the nearest ATM for me to get the money. And then he said to me, "No, no, 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 no. I have the apple, the what do you call it? The machine here
Oh,
linked to the cell phone."
sure.
So the transaction was instantly there. And I was thinking a lot. I said, but Brazil is not developed. Brazil is an emerging market. We can also do that. But do we have hope that tomorrow is much better than today?
Right.
But that will never happen overnight. There is a process, and we have to embark into that process by not being hypocrite, by being honest, truthful to ourselves, honest to each other. I needed your experience for us to have this conversation.
Sure.
Because myself, I cannot do everything. Hopeful, hope of good things, hope for tomorrow, hope for everything. But don't be sitting there doing nothing. Let all of us bring our hand into the conversation and try to put our expertise, our talent to serve our countries. And I think Africa will go much better. We are already in a very good position. We are potentially richer. Potentially richer because we have not explored a lot of avenue that can be developed in order for us to speak the innovation word or the innovation what do you call it, concept in the broader way of its definition.
True.
We have to be honest to ourselves. Those are the 3 H that I always give people to be inspireful. Honest about yourself. And I like what Miles Morgan say. Until you discover yourself, you will always be somebody else.
Powerful words.
I want people who will be following us to be themselves. To look into the mirror. Because if you face the mirror, you crying, the mirror will not judge you. You jumping, the mirror will not be able to jump with you. But at the end of the day, your self-reflection gives you perspective, more perspective in what you can bring into the table. Grab that seat. Come into the conversation of innovation and economic growth in our continent. Make yourself available. Speak your mind. Be yourself. Don't think that people around that table will be judging you. Consider them like a mirror. So you're just looking on your self-reflection. Whatever you said, how are you going to implement them?
Wow. Very inspiring words by Mr. Jordan Seke. He lives by the triple H. Avoid hypocrisy, be honest, and always have hope for the future. I hope you guys at home are as inspired as I am today. The book is available on Amazon. And you guys at home, be sure to follow him on every social media platform. Thank you. See you next time.